Good morning. I'm Jody and this is my first recording for Yoga and Qigong by the beach. I'm going to be recording these short videos for you from time to time, just to provide a little bit of a break if you're having a tough day or you just want to kind of step out of whatever zone you're in and go into a new zone. That's what these are for. I also want to introduce you to the style of yoga that I teach. It's a fusion. Yoga is an Indian tradition, whereas Qigong is a Chinese martial art. And I fused the two of them together to give a really balanced practice, which is not just for the body, it's also for the mind and the soul. So what I'm going to start by doing today, I've never practiced in the water before, it's actually really nice. I wanted to teach you the fundamental stance of Qigong, which is called Wuji. Now, by the way, the dogs are probably going to run in and out while I do this. In my mind, what we're aiming to do when we practice something like yoga, something like Qigong, we're aiming to create space, and we're creating space so that we can find some sense of stillness and a sense of peace. The byproduct of this is that we become physically well. The practices themselves are great for strengthening, for increasing your flexibility, but for me the reason I do it is to really find a sense of calm. So Wuji, which is the fundamental stance of Qigong, and you'll begin a Qigong practice in Wuji, at least when you practice with me, and you'll go back to Wuji in between different Qigong exercises. And Qigong is essentially a standing meditation. It's also the position that martial artists, like Kung Fu artist Bruce Lee for example, will return to in order to attack or defend. It's actually not too dissimilar to a stance that you see tennis players in. So what we want to do to begin Wuji is find a flat surface. I'm not on one, but this is working for me. So the feet want to be slightly wider than hips distance apart. The feet are parallel, the toes are pointing straight ahead. So we always build our postures from the ground up. So once your feet are in the right position, you want to come up to the knees. Now, the knees have a very, very slight bend in them. So by slight bend, something like... Then when we move up from the knees, we come to the next joint, which is the pelvis. So the pelvis essentially has three positions. So if you imagine that you've got a bowl of water around your intestinal area, and begin to tip that water so that it cascades down over the thighs. So to do that, you're essentially curving the lower back and sticking your bum out. So that is cow position, and if we begin to tuck the tailbone under, we move into in yoga what's called cat position. So if you just move between those two extremes, cat and cow, and then find the neutral position, which is somewhere in the middle, and then slightly, ever so slightly, tuck the tailbone under, that's the position of pelvis. Next we come up to the chest. So the chest in Wuji should be slightly forward and the shoulders should be coming forward. So this is very different to how a lot of us were taught to stand as we were growing up as children, particularly young women. We were taught shoulders back, chest out, but this is quite the opposite in Wuji and in any martial art. You want to have the chest sunken, the shoulders coming. Then when you move up to the crown is to be lifted upwards, and to do that we tuck the chin under towards the chin, towards the neck. So in profile, Wuji looks something like this. Now the hands very slightly away from the sides of the body. Front on, Wuji looks a little something like this. Now, this looks very simple. Probably looks to you all like I'm just standing here. But if you go into this posture and you start to hold it, you'll probably start to find that after a minute, maybe two, it's really, really challenging. Just begin to focus on your breath. The breath is very, very soft. You're breathing into what's called the dantian. Now the dantian is the navel area. Dantian in Chinese means sea of qi. Sorry, one of the dogs has just arrived. And qi is energy, a Chinese word that means energy. So this is where we create and store a lot of our energy. So you're going to just gently breathe into dantian, and as you breathe in, you feel it expand, and as you breathe out, you'll feel it gently fall away. So don't force the breath. You essentially want to feel like it's the breath or the breath you sleep when you're having a really, really comfortable sleep. So now that you've got your breathing happening, just check the posture again. So start from the ground, work your way up. So are the feet parallel? Are the toes pointing straight ahead? Are the feet slightly wider than hips distance? Moving up to the knees soft with a slight bend in them. Is the tailbone tucked under? Is the chest relaxed? Is the back heel full? Is the crown of the head lifted? Which you do not by doing this, but by tucking the chin under. Now your gaze. If you're practicing for healing, I recommend you close the eyes. Allow yourself to go inside and just check in with what's going on in your body right now, what's going on in your mind. If you're practicing in preparation for practice, keep the eyes gently open and the gaze is soft. Focus isn't on one particular. Now, I recommend that all you have is 5 minutes a day to put into some kind of practice. Do Wuji. It's not only a meditation that's going to calm you and center you, it's also going to work the muscles of the body, because as you probably found from standing in this for the last, well, I've been doing this about 5 minutes I guess, you will start to feel your muscles. So very simple, yet very deep. Yoga and Qigong by the beach, which is my new school in Pacific Harbour, opens Saturday the 16th of March 2013. The first day is free, there will be 3 classes. Check out the website, it's renandi plantation.com/yoga-qigong-by-the-beach. Hope you can make it, it'd be lovely to see you.